going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. There we go. So today's video, get right to it instead of messing around. As you can see in the thumbnail, saying it's not your dad's eBay. And the only reason I'm talking about eBay is because there's been so much talk about eBay lately and reselling in general, but this is more about reselling in general. I guess the seed that was planted that brought forth to bring forth this conversation has to do with resellers, who are, for whatever reason, deciding to either go back to work or, just to get an extra job, irregardless of what the reason is, in large part due to what used to work not necessarily working. Now, of course, this whole thing is varied as far as depending on who you ask. They'll say sales are great. They'll say sales aren't. I would say this: you can't do reselling the way it used to be done, right? I don't even think you can do certain categories the way you used to be able to do it. And especially maybe not with the numbers you may, like, for instance, you may have been able to do certain categories with a few hundred items, maybe just a few thousand items. Now to survive in some categories, you may need tens of thousands of items up, and that might still be pushing it. But it seems to me that over the years, and listening to different resellers in different categories and that sell in different genres, what used to work just ain't working. But either that or they have to do more and list more, and it's becoming more labor intensive, and you're getting less out of it. That's what it seems like. I don't know. I think that a lot of people, for whatever reason, box themselves in. And this is only for those for whom eBay isn't working. Okay, so listed and forget is not going to work anymore like it used to, right? You just put it up there. Maybe you log in every day or so, or here and there, and things are all fine. The old philosophy of just list everything, just list as much as you can, that doesn't necessarily work anymore, right? So you probably should still list every day if you can. I haven't been listing every day, and I get a few sales here and there, but that's only because that's just not what I'm focusing on as far as eBay goes. I'm focusing on other platforms. But I do know that when I list more consistently on eBay, I get more consistent sales. So, but I sell in a different category than most. You know what I mean? I do think that you're going to have to look, reselling in general reminds me of like this moving target, right? You got a target, you want to hit the target, but it's moving. You know how like you go to the carnivals and it's just like this and like this, and you got to try to shoot and hit the targets. It's almost like reselling, man. It's like these platforms are always moving the goalposts and changing the rules, and it ain't just the platforms though, the economy, and there's a bunch of factors that's always changing the goalposts. So what might have worked yesterday might not work tomorrow, might not work 3 days from now, might not work next month, definitely probably won't work next year or a couple years down the line. And so we always have to be self-evaluating our business and our position, and always be aiming. Yeah, it's a lot of work sometimes, and it can be nerve-wracking, but sometimes even the target might change. Instead of chasing this target, you might go to a different target, or maybe there's a target that's closer. But the main point is that for those who are struggling on eBay, look, even if you don't want to go to a different platform, it's hard to start sourcing something other than what you're used to sourcing. It usually includes learning a bunch of different things, and it's a lot of work. But if you want to survive, that's what you got to do. I would just tell anybody who's having a hard time with sales on eBay specifically, because that's the only platform I hear people complaining about having sales. Look, you got to reevaluate your position. What are you selling? And if that isn't, like, if you feel like your listings are solid, your prices are solid, all things considered, your images are solid, then something else, is just not right. And what are other sellers in your category? What's happening with them? Can you go through their solds and see that they are selling, items consistently? Because if they are, then you got to kind of look at what they're doing that you may be able to change. I believe, and my philosophy is to put myself in a position where I have a lot of options and where I can separate myself from other sellers in the competition. And so that means having access to selling on different platforms. And I'm not talking about like Mercari or Poshmark or those. I don't even count those two. I don't know, as far as what I sell, it just wouldn't work on neither of those for sure. I do sell a little bit on Mercari, but it's probably, maybe not even $1,000 a year. But the point is that the main platforms, I need to have access to all those platforms. And I think that every seller, I know some of y'all, I was commenting on one of Primo Chemo's videos, and we was just talking back and forth, and he was talking about, the types of things he sells and non-barcode items and things like that. He got the nuclear reset. And I get that for sure. You know what I mean? I definitely get that. I don't got nothing negative to say about that, or I don't even really have like advice for that besides, if it's working for him and he's cool with it, then it's cool, but if it wasn't working and like it might not be for some of y'all, then you have to reevaluate your position and what you got going on. One thing's for sure, whether it's eBay or whatever it is, we can't resell the way we used to. It's just not going to remain the same, even with prices. Everything's going up in the world, right? So people are price sensitive right now, and thinking you're going to squeeze every dime out of an item, it's just probably not going to happen. I've had to drop my prices in some cases significantly to get items to move, and they'll just sit there. And I am almost certain. So on Amazon and Walmart, if you overprice an item, they'll take away the buy button, and a person can still buy, but you gotta like look, and there's to be like a little link and say see available offer. They try to make it difficult, and then sometimes they'll suppress the listings. I am convinced that eBay does something similar, even though they really necessarily can't suppress a buy box button. But I do think that when a seller is overpriced on a specific type of item, that eBay suppresses that item. I do. I've had items that I wouldn't even have considered overpriced, but maybe for eBay's algorithm, it was just price high. But market wise, it was price market. But it would be no traction, no views, no nothing. I dropped the price down, and then I'll hit a sweet spot. And then sometimes it'll be like a multi-quantity listing, and that thing will sit forever. Drop the price down to a nice low price that I really didn't want to go to, but I'm like, whatever, let me see what happened. And boom, I get some traction. I think eBay does that. And so once you drop that price down, if those types of items are not within your profit range, you have to start sourcing other types of items. One thing's for sure on eBay, electronics, for most part, most types of electronics are probably always going to have a high sell-through. Certain types of clothes and things like that on a higher end probably. I mean, there are certain things that are definitely going to have a higher sell-through, but I think it's very difficult. It depends on your reason for reselling. If you're reselling part-time, having a high sell-through only store is not only doable and sustainable, but it might be the way to go because you're not dependent on it. So you got time, you can find the right items and all of that. But if it's your only means of income, it's going to be probably hard to sustain a high sell-through only store. Because people always forget this when they think about going full time. It's not just your business expenses, it's your life expenses as well. You know what I mean? And if you got a spouse, that might make it easier, or a partner, that might make it easier. But you don't want to be having somebody else carry all the weight because you over here and you can't rub two nickels together with your reselling business. And so 50 let's just say you made $40,000 net profit after all is said and done as a part-time reseller. Well, $40,000 net profit as a part-time reseller, as far as I'm concerned, is really good money, man. Who else is making $40,000 on a side hustle? Not many people. Now, $40,000 net profit, and that's your full-time, that, man, listen, that ain't even gonna be enough for your business, let alone to live off of. And y'all know y'all's expenses. And so that's kind of how you got to look at it. So those of you who are part-time, I really have hard time figuring out why so many part-timers struggle. New people, I can understand that, but people who have been doing it, because you got a job, you got income, and so you shouldn't necessarily be dependent upon your reseller income. So that means you have the time to focus on what sells, to find the sources for those things. It's out there. It's out there. The money is out there. Look, for me, I've been putting most of my energy in the Walmart. I've been doing some Amazon too, but most of my energy been going there because that's what's really been pumping for me. And then Amazon kind of ticked me off the other day. So with the shipment stuff. So I kind of, we'll get back to that one of these days. But that's kind of where I'm at. I got a bunch of stuff over there. I still got a list on eBay. I just don't want to do it, man. It's so labor intensive at this point. So labor intensive. I got to sit there and I got to take all these pictures. I got to upload the pictures. I got to go through item specifics. I got to make sure it's just right. Then I got to do some promoted listing. And then if all that don't work, maybe I end the sales. Man, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But for those of you who are part-time, you got the time to do the work. For those of you who are full-time and finding it difficult, look, you may have to go and get a job and go back part-time reselling. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to figure out what's working now on these platforms, because what used to work is not going to work, and it's only going to get harder to survive in doing those methods. You know, everybody used to say, just, list 100 a day or list 50 a day, or you can do that. But if you ain't listing the right type of items, it's really not going to help you. It's really not going to help you a whole lot. And you're just going to have a very large and slow store. The thing is right now is to focus on average sale price and sell-through rate, right? Those are the main two things. Now, if you're reselling just for the hobby and you like to find certain things and you don't really care how long it takes, then that's fine. But it seemed like it's this dark cloud over the reselling content that I've been seeing, but that dark cloud is pretty much only centered around eBay and the sellers who have stopped on eBay. And again, it doesn't matter to me necessarily why a person stops. People have to do what they got to do. I'm not talking about that, but it's just that, first of all, you got the people out there who just love to see another person. I don't want to say fail. But I feel like there's people who get a kick out of just seeing somebody fail, in the sense that what they was doing and depending on is not working in the way that they, wanted it to. I don't know. I guess that's kind of the best way I can put it, because I really don't think, I think as long as you continue to fight, like it's just sometimes you got to take a step back to go 2 steps forward, man. That's just life sometimes. You know what I mean? You only fail when you quit, when you give up. And I don't think that some of these people are quitting. They just have to do what they got to do. But you got these people out there, it's sick, man. There's some sick-minded people who get off on seeing people like, when things not go right for them. When things don't go right, especially if it's like a bigger YouTuber or Daily Refinement put out, it was kind of his fault, right? But he put out a video and he was like, I'm getting rid of it all, something like that. He made it seem like in the thumbnail that it was all over and he's quitting or whatever, right? It was a good clickbait. It was a good clickbait. But I've been watching his videos long enough to know that that's exactly what it was. And so I said, I'm gonna click on it and see what he's talking about anyway. But I knew it wasn't gonna be as dramatic as he was making this scene. Only time it was really that dramatic was when he got suspended off of eBay. Like, that's the only real time it's clickbait wasn't clickbait. But I'm reading through the comments, and some of them comments, the people were so mad that it was not clickbait and that he actually wasn't like doomed. They was like, I can't believe this. This is just, I'm unsubbing, blah. I'm just like, these people, man. People probably did the 100-yard dash with their finger to the button to watch the video, only with the one thought that this man failed. This man failed. That's what they wanted to see. He didn't fail. But that's what people get a kick out of that. You know, they get a kick out of that. And so this is the type of energy that we fighting. But here's the thing. You can't be afraid to pivot. You can't be afraid to make changes. And if those pivots and changes require you to go in a totally different direction for a minute to get things right, then you have to be willing to do that and, you know, F what everybody think and what people say. But I do think that we have to realize that the landscape of this whole business, this whole industry is changing, in part due to the platforms, but also in large part due to, you know, the economy and the environment. The next couple months, y'all, is going to be a good opportunity to get some sales in. And so if what you got ain't selling, now is the time to kind of maybe start sourcing some other things. A lot of the stuff I haven't been moving that fast. I've been boxing up. I done sent out 2 big boxes already to a couple people that bought this stuff off me cheap. I mean, if you look at it from like what I paid per unit wise, I was selling those things at a loss. But I mean, when it comes to the whole lot that stuff came with, or the pallets that stuff came on, I'm still up. But per unit, I just sold it off, man. What, maybe a quarter, 50 cents a unit, something like that. Just trying to get rid of it. And I'm gonna try my best to avoid certain things again and certain types of pallets again. But then I got my ear and I'm just listening and I'm talking to people and I'm seeing what they're looking for, and things like that. You know what I mean? Paying attention to what's selling. Look, it's hard to get electronics to sell on eBay a lot, enough to make it. But, you know, maybe you're a clothing seller and the types of clothes that you're selling just ain't working. You got to go back to the drawing board. Just go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Don't give up, but don't be afraid either to take a step back. That's not giving up. Taking a step back is not giving up. Pivoting is not giving up. Making adjustments is not giving up. But also, you know what they say the definition of insanity is? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over. And you have to give yourself more opportunities. Okay? If all you sell on is eBay, there might be other platforms. Well, no, there's no might. There are other platforms out there that will do a whole lot better for you. And that may require you to source different types of inventory. But once you learn that, you only need to learn that one time, and you on the next level. You only need to learn these things one time. But if you want to stay on eBay, you got to understand that this is the direction eBay's going. And now I have to change the types of items that I sell there in the model that I might be currently running. Okay. Nothing's the same. Nothing is as it used to be. Nothing will be like it used to be. And it will only continue. I'm not even going to say get worse. It will only continue to change. It will only continue to change. And so for all the I've been doing it this way forever people, and for all the this used to always sell for me people, and that's probably right there is where you need to start at when it comes to solving your problem. Because if it always worked, you can't expect for it to always to work. Things change, man. So that's all I wanted to say to y'all, man. Keep y'all heads up. You know, stay focused. eBay ain't the same. eBay's changing. Everything's changing. You got to change too. You got to change the way you look at your business. You got to change the way you source. You got to change your approach to these platforms. And also, you got to elevate your game. You got to learn new things, learn new platforms, even if it's just a bit by bit, bit by bit until you kind of get your feet up under you. But you got to do something. Don't just sit around and complain. And remember, y'all, people out there watching, they just can't wait to laugh and look at you and hope you fail. If nothing else drive you to figure this out. And again, you ain't got to figure it out to be full time. You be part time. $40,000-$50,000 profit a year with a job. That's good, man. You'll be doing better than most people in the country. You'll be doing better. Hell, you do $25,000-$30,000 a year in profit plus have a job. You'll be doing better than most people. So don't be afraid to reevaluate things and just stay focused. All right. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure y'all stay up with the channel and hit that subscribe button so that you're notified next time I upload another video.